All right, story. Every This story happened, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe more. It was like now in the winter, and every Friday I go to this big marketplace in Tel Aviv, and I put tefillin on people, and for about an hour or 2 hours, and I come back. Well, this one Shabbat, I had to borrow somebody. This Friday, one Friday, I had to borrow somebody else's car. My car wasn't working, and I drove down, and I came back. It was late, it was late. It was starting to get late. Shabbat came in like 4 o'clock, 4:15, and I'm coming back, and I figure, I'll be a nice guy. I'll put gas in this fellow's car. He gave me the car, so I put in gas, and then I was coming out of the gas station, and I saw that they had just changed the lines in the street. It's sort of like a main highway. I used to be able to come out directly from the this gas station. It wasn't the first time I went to this gas station. You come directly from the gas station directly into this road, but they made a big white line, so you have to come out of the gas station. You can't go directly into the road. You have to now take this turn right, and then immediately there's another place where you can turn left, and then after that you have to turn right again in order to get another. You have to take sort of U-turn in order to get back on the main road again. Now it's Erev Shabbos, and I'm late, and just every other day I had gone right out into the road. All of a sudden, because this ridiculous white line that they made, there's no barrier over here, a white line. So I figured no big deal. I'm just coming from doing mitzvahs, and I'm going to do a mitzvah Shabbos, and I just put gas in this person's car. I figured I'm protected. So I went out. I disregarded the white line, went over the white line. Immediately there was a policeman standing there waiting for just somebody like me that made all these excuses and calculations for ignoring the white line, and he pulled me over. And he said, license and registration. So I gave him my license and registration, and he looked at things and says, oh, you're from Kfar Chabad. I figured, oh, that's it. He's going to let me go. He says, come to the car. Goes over to the car. He wants to test, puts my license plate, my license in his computer to see. So I figured, I hope the guy's going to just let me go, So he goes out and he says, starts writing up the ticket. That's this big ticket. He said, the policeman says, I once had a experience with the Lubavtcher Rebbe, a big miracle. So I figured, and we're standing there like the cars are whizzing by, And I figured, okay, I'll ask him to, maybe I'll get a good story out of this thing. The ticket is who knows how much, $100, $200. So I said, well, what is the story? I also figured when he was telling me the story, he couldn't give other people tickets. So what is the story? So he said that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the story itself happened like, I don't know, what that I'm telling you now was like 10 years ago. So he said 10 years before that, he was a motorcycle policeman, and an Arab drove into him. He doesn't know if it was by purpose, whatever. Anyway, knocked him off the bicycle. He flew down over this barrier, and he fell down like, 20 feet. And just happened to be that there was another police car there. He stopped the Arab, took him, they called the ambulance, took him to the hospital. And they had to make a whole big series of operations on him. He had broken his spine and he had broken his neck. So they made all these operations. He's telling me the story, right? And the cars are whizzing by. And meanwhile, he's sort of writing the ticket. And he says, and so they took me to the hospital. And finally, after like a half a year of operations, so they said it was a big miracle that I'm still alive. They can't believe such a big miracle, big miracle, big miracle. But I was half paralyzed. So of course I couldn't be a policeman anymore. They sent me home, and there I was at home, half paralyzed. They tried to do physical therapy, nothing worked. The situation was just getting worse, and I felt all depressed. I felt terrible. Then my doctor called me up and he said, "Listen, I see your situation is not getting any better. I saw in this medical journal that in Germany they developed a new way to rejuvenate nerves." And even though they've only had like 20% success, but I think it's worthwhile for you to go on it, because at least it'll give you hope, and and if it works, it'll be wonderful. So I said, okay. So I faxed them for information. They sent me back information, and I agreed. And I sent them like a $1,000 deposit or something. And I reserved a place in the hospital over there in Germany. And that's it. And the day is coming closer that I'm supposed to go there to this operation. I'm supposed to go there on like Wednesday. And Friday, right before that Wednesday, Friday, he says, I want you to know I was not a religious Jew at all. I hated religion. I hated the religious people. I couldn't stand them. And I'm not a religious Jew. So all of a sudden, one of my friends comes in Friday, knocks on the door, comes in, and he brings this religious young man. So I said, what do you believe? You're bringing the burial society here. I'm not dead yet. Get this fellow out of here. I hate these religious people. So he said, no, he's different. He's Chabad. I said, don't be fooled. They're all exactly the same. All they want is money. And he said, no, he doesn't want money. I said, what does he want? He said, I told him about you. He said he can send a letter to the Rebbe. He says, how much does it cost? Doesn't cost anything. He says, okay, I have a fax machine. I can send the letter myself. He says, give me the phone number, give him the fax number. What do you have to write? He said, write your name and write what's your problem and what you're asking. That's all. I said, okay, that's it. Get out. I'm not giving any money. Leave. So the young man left, and I wrote down, my wife, she wrote down, my name. And I said, what I want health, and I want to go back to work. I'll find a job, something to do. I'm sitting around the house like a potato, I'm not doing anything. So my wife sends in this thing to the Rebbe, and that's it. Motzi Shabbos, after Shabbos, we didn't keep Shabbos. After Saturday night, after Shabbat, very late, it's almost like 3, 4 in the morning or something. Suddenly the fax starts rattling. There comes out a fax. So my wife takes it out. She says, what is it? It woke us up. Said, it's a letter from the Lubavtcher Rebbe. What does it say in the letter? So she said, it says that regarding your health, don't make the operation. An operation is not necessary. And work, you'll get your old job back. So I said to my wife, let me see this. This is the story. He's telling me this, right? The cars are whizzing by. So I said to my wife, let me see that letter. So I took the fax. Let me see the fax. I took it and I crumpled it up in my left hand. That's the only hand that worked. I crumpled it. My whole body, the right part of my body was paralyzed. I took it in. And I started cursing and throwing it down. So my wife said, what are you so angry about? What's wrong? So I said, well, this is so fake. Can't you see it's so transparent and so false, such a lie? She said, why? I said, I didn't say anything about an operation. How did he know about an operation? And what? I'm going to get my old job back. It's ridiculous. So my wife said, well, I don't know. I said, why are you so angry about it? So he said, you want to know how he knew about the operation? I'll tell you, that young man told him. The young man that was here, he wrote in and told him, so that if it happens to be I get better, they'll want credit, they'll want money. They only want this money. And I'm going to get my old job back. That's insane, right? I'm half paralyzed. I'm going to get my old job back. And that's it. Meanwhile, the day is coming closer. Wednesday, they have to go to Germany, right? Said the next morning, this is like Monday morning. No, sorry. That's right, Monday morning. Monday morning, like 5 in the morning, the phone rings. I pick up the phone. Hello, it says, is this Malul? His name was David Malul. I said, yeah. He said, listen, I'm calling from the police department in Ashdod or wherever it was, and we want to start a new unit for motorcycle police. We see that you have experience. Would you like to come and fill out an application? So I cursed this guy out, and I cursed out his mother and his father. I said, what are you trying to, 5 o'clock in the morning, you're making all sorts of tricks and funny phone calls, and I slammed the phone down. Suddenly he said, he's telling me, suddenly he said, I noticed that I picked up the phone with my right hand. So I thought maybe I was confused, so I looked at my hands and I saw that both of my hands were working, and I couldn't believe it. And I yelled out. My wife woke up. She said, what's happening? I said, I don't know what's happening. I can't figure it out. The phone rang again. So this time I looked at my hand. I picked up the phone and I said, yeah. He says, is this Malul? So I said, yeah, it is. He says, what are you cursing me out for? This is the police station from Ashdod. What are you cursing me out for? So I said to him, listen, I'm sorry, I thought it was a dream. I had a big dream, that a fish was eating me or something. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I made up some excuse. We canceled the trip. The next day I drove down to the police station in Ashdod. My whole body was working. It was the first time I drove in like 4 years. Whatever. We drove. I took all the tests. They made x-rays. They said they'll call me up. They called me up next Sunday. They said, I'm in. So I went down and I brought the x-rays from my previous, from like 2 weeks ago. And I showed it to the doctor, and the doctor said, whoa, this person is really very in serious condition. It looks like he's even paralyzed. Who is this, your father? I said, it's me. The doctor said, it's impossible. It can't be. This person had all sorts of operations. You don't even have any scars. So he said, I don't understand what happened. This Malul tells me, says, I don't understand what happened. How the Rebbe gave me back my whole body. Said, but if the Rebbe can give me back my body, then I'm sure that the Rebbe is also here in a body right now. So I said, I don't know about that. So I said, but it was sure worth, your story was sure worth this ticket that I got. So he said, it's not a ticket. It's a warning. So I looked at it, I thought, whoa, it's a warning. I have it somewhere here in my house. It's a warning. So I said to him that, wow, the miracle that just happened to me was as big as the miracle that just happened to you. And I looked at him to see where he was, and he was back on the street pulling people over. So that's the story of David Malul and how the Rebbe gave him back his whole being. So it's almost the opposite of the story here. We have Abraham was willing to sacrifice himself, sacrifice his son, and here this David Malul received back a free gift, his body. Have a good Shabbos, everyone. We'll see you at 8:15.
Shalom.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. 8:15, Sunday morning, Chassidut. Please be there.